What's up, Otaku fam? We are back with more reactions here for the channel with some more Gigguk. It's been a while, it feels like, since we did a Gigguk reaction here on the channel. We have Fall 2024 anime in a nutshell. Thank you, Lord Gigguk. It's about time. We have been going through a lot more changes on the Patreon. So for those of you who have been around, we reacted to full anime uncut over on our Patreon, link down below. And for whatever reason, I don't know what 3 shows it started at, but for the first time in the years we've been doing the Patreon, all 3 shows are always changing at the exact same time, which is going to stop now because now we're reacting to 2 long-running shows. So, thankfully that's not going to be happening again, but for the longest time, 3 shows changing every single time was like jarring and hard to find shows to react to because we're like, oh god, what do we pick? I want to react to this, but it's not done yet. It's about to be done. I don't want to pick something too long yet. It's been a whole thing. We love getting our recommendations for our future anime reaction list from Gigguk because he does a good job of explaining very shortly what it's about and if it's going to be our vibe or not. So this will be good. We could add this up to the list. Thank you guys.
Things that I want to see. I wanted to watch that one, the Nina one.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch that one.
Yeah, 365 Days to the Wedding. Yeah.
Because that's just going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Watching Dandadan, Dandadan.
We are reacting to Dandadan as it comes out every week. That's a great time. That's probably going to be my anime of the year, honestly. I don't know. We'll see. Let's hop on.
There's a lot coming out next
year. In my opinion, so
Yeah.
far, 2024 hasn't quite reached the caliber of previous years yet. Not that it's been a bad year for anime by any means, but the last few years it felt like full-on juggernaut years of anime. But fall 2024 could be about to change all that. We've got massive new shows, massive returning shows, hidden gems, more shows anyone could keep up with, and even following a summer anime season full of love and romance, we still have our dose of wholesome romances like Blue Box and
oh, that was one I wanted to watch.
This is the
and that one.
opposite of wholesome. Who the hell would get invested in a love story like Oh no, she's hot.
It's just the Uzumaki. I've wanted to see that.
Don't you hate it when that happens? Doing what I do, maintaining a solid internet connection.
Why did I really think that was real though?
Is essential, which is why I am eager to introduce the sponsor of today's video, Sailor.
I wish he had done it long enough because you get
reliable link in the description, and you can also use coupon code Gigguk at checkout for a 15% discount. And with that said, let's get back to this season's anime.
Well, okay, seems simple enough.
Obstacle.
どこにしようか。そう固くならないで。時はくんとこれを楽しめるなんて嬉しいな。はい、笑って。
Ladies and gentlemen, they finally made it. Canonically straight yaoi. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. Is this for the usual fan base?
How I said it all guys
demographic, or as my wife calls it, is this just yaoi for cowards? All I'm saying is, boys, have you ever looked at your bro and thought, damn, I'm straight, but bro's looking good today?
No.
Now, what if your bro still looks like a bro, acted like a bro, talks like a bro, but was actually a girl dressed up as a bro? You ever thought how that make you feel? Yeah,
no.
Me neither. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, sometimes it takes a real woman to be best boy. Summer only gave us a handful of high-profile sequels, but there's certainly not a lack of them this time. Bleach is once again continuing one of the biggest comebacks we've seen in anime for the game.
We're actually reacting to Bleach now over on the Patreon because it's one of my favorite shows and I haven't watched any of the new arc that started coming out, and so we're watching from the beginning so I can show Ren the gloriousness that is Bleach. I already showed her Naruto, I showed her Yu Yu Hakusho. It's time to show her Bleach.
Gamers, we have Shangri-La Frontier and Gun Gale Online 2. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 isekai returning, which of course includes the return of ReZero after a 4-year-long wait. It has been a hot minute since I last saw this. I gotta check the patch notes quickly. Okay.
I'm kind of glad we
What
didn't
the fuck? Not
watch
gonna
this
lie,
then.
I tried watching the first episode of this
ReZero.
one, and I realized
Oh.
it's been way too long.
It was on
so
our
I'll
list of
probably need a
possible
refresh from season
reactions.
two
I'm
first.
glad,
Needless
because if
to say,
it's
this
just
is the only
starting up
time I can
again,
see
rather
Weeb
wait
switching
for
to
it
the
to
dub
finish.
en masse to prevent subtitles covering up Amelia's character development. Blue Lock. Now, after becoming
Oh,
the
no.
top-selling manga of 2023, outselling the likes of Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, even goddamn One Piece, I can say the newest anime really is continuing that legacy, giving us the most faithful adaptation fans could ask for by truly making you feel like you're reading a manga.
Just move! If you got to go and just move, it's all I want to see some movement. I'm not seeing enough movement.
There's a remake of Ranma continuing the trend of resurrecting
I wanna
old
watch this.
classics to the modern day, and this is actually perfect for me because I actually have never watched Ranma before, outside of just a few episodes I watched as a kid and I barely
Same.
have any memory of aside from was there boobs?
I've wanted to
We have our
watch it.
usual suspects in the fantasy category. Of course, we get another villainous anime. There's Sid from Eminence in Shadow if he wasn't actually OP, except everyone still believed that he is. I think this is what Crunchyroll sees in the mind's eye when someone mentions High Guardian Spice. Guys, I know we like to look down on that trope of having your protagonist buy slaves even though he's helping them out by letting the slaves join his party. I can understand how that can be a bit morally grey, so how about this protagonist? A guy who completely flips things on his head. See, he doesn't help slaves by buying them, he's helping out his party members by selling them into slavery. Wait, is that how it's supposed to work? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's all the new non-sequel isekai like usual? Is the era of isekai actually coming to an end? What's this one about?
一瞬テンション上がったがよくよく考えると異世界なんてめんどくさい
Damn. Even isekai is sick of isekai. Alright, enough of this stuff. What's the actual new hottest show this season?
おっぱい吸わせてやるからよ
Smells like milk. Kind of looks like milkshake.
Dandadan, based on a manga from yet another one of Tatsuki Fujimoto's former assistants. Now, what the hell was this team that he had assembled? A team that has now given us the likes of Chainsaw Man, Hell's Paradise, Dandadan, and Spy Family. Bro clearly was just on this team vibing in the corner. Something special must have been happening at that studio to pump out hit after hit after hit, and Dandadan looks like it's standing up with the best of them. Shonen Jump titles can sometimes feel like they're playing things by the book, following the tried and tested formula. So does Dandadan fit that mold?
今からセックスします
No. I don't even know how to
No.
describe the premise of the opening episode, but it plays out like a fever dream based on an Alex Jones monologue. Aliens, ghosts, psychic powers, spirit mediums, and then there's this old lady who sees a boy and goes,
一応もっとしゃぶらせろ
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We
read
got
it.
you. So, my experience with turbo grading. I can't believe this just happened. I was just minding my own business in a tunnel whilst on the phone to someone, and out of nowhere, turbo grading showed up and made some very inappropriate comments about my dong. Not only that, but she then went on actually steal my dong from me. That's right, she actually took my dong away. I was going to let this go, but something has to be said about this before it happens to someone else. I have proof, and this has to stop.
this anime is
Gobbled the
anything
last
but
dong.
by the book,
No, she
which
hasn't.
is why Science Saga is not only the perfect studio to adapt it, but you get the sense that they've gotten their dream project. This is the anime studio equivalent of find someone who matches your freak. The animation is oozing with expression and character through every single goddamn frame of this show, even by their normal standards, and they just keep going every new
It is
episode.
so good.
This is the show to be watching this season, and if the weirdness doesn't turn you off, you are in for one amazing ride to come. We got another anime original. Let's see what this one's all about. Holy shit, did he just try to... Damn. He does not look like he's in a good place. And the doctors just gave him 2 years to live? Wow. What a way to start
Wow.
the episode. So, this is the story about a man with a terminal illness, huh? Oh, okay. So we're doing this now. When I imagine what would be in a cozy fishing anime, I don't normally associate it with a guy failing neck pull-ups, getting cancer, drowning in
Failing
freaking
neck
debt, and getting
pull-ups is
scammed by the
wild.
crypto market. Bro can apparently catch anything except a break. But this one's been interesting. For a series with such heavy topics, the vibes have been on point. It kind of reminds me of Welcome to the NHK with a fishing twist, and I'm intrigued to see where this series goes.
どうせもう長くは生きていないんで人がそんな簡単に死んでたまるかよ
Did he just call terminal illness as a skill issue?
我が妹に勝る者などこの世にはいない
Hey, go on, come get your man.
Hey, this is my man's.
Come get your man.
Stop saying it's my man's.
Bro, come get your man.
Why does everyone keep telling me that this is my man's? Somehow, this managed to be regression, incest, and NTR all in one. Going back in time to avoid marrying a guy who secretly wants to bang his sister. Well, that's the beauty of the regression genre. You can go back to being a 15-year-old to redo your life choices. Let's see who the next man in line is.
私はその年齢的に
理想的だ。
Okay. Go back.
My experience with that is Teal's rough. And I don't know anything about this show, by the way. We're just reading this because I just want to see what it says. I can't believe this just happened. I was minding my own business trying to get away from that ciscon weirdo I was engaged to, and out of nowhere, Hada shows up and proposes to me instead. But apparently he seems to think that by being 10 years old is ideal to him. The dude is 19, and that would have been too old for me when I was 16. That before I died the first time, but now, actual predator. This has to stop.
People can really stretch the definition of a hidden gem, but I've seen almost no talk about this show that has piqued my interest like few other anime have. Orb, on the movements of the earth. It's 15th century Poland, a time when you can get arrested, tortured, burned at the stake simply for researching any heretical beliefs that go against the common sense teaching everyone already knows.
So Castlevania.
God created Earth and thus put it at the center of the universe. Enter Rafał, a genius, logical kid who just wants an easy life with a curious hobby in astronomy. He's going to study theology for an easy life path to further appreciate the teachings of God, until by chance he meets a convicted heretic who blackmails him and gives him something so awful, so dangerous it could get him killed. An idea. What if the Earth wasn't the center of the universe? The stars didn't revolve around the world, but instead the Earth revolved around the sun. A stupid, nonsensical idea that Rafał immediately dismisses as he goes home confident that he can disprove that idea in a single night. But as he starts thinking, as he starts entertaining the thoughts, mapping out the models, doing everything he can to dismiss the theory only to find himself falling deeper into it, he realizes something terrifying. Shit. What if this idea is actually right? It's rare nowadays that I see a concept I have never seen before, but this one fit the bill perfectly. A series about dropping the biggest twist on Earth lore in human history while having to keep it secret from the church to avoid death? Sign me the hell up. This is Nicholas Copernicus' Vinland Saga star with some genuinely fantastic storytelling and characters. Outside of Dandadan, this has been the new show I've been excited about the most. Take my advice. Go in blind and give this the 3-episode rule and you won't be disappointed.
All right.
That's
We got yet
interesting.
another I Can Fix Him quirky romance story about a girl getting into arranged marriage with a downright psychopath of a man that could only ever lead to the most toxic relationship of all time. You don't need to be a genius to see that this is just a bad idea. If you asked him what item best describes him, it'd probably be this. I mean, just look at him. I gotta ask, girls, is this the kind of man you really want? Do you really think he can be fixed? I just think that...
Give me that.
Sydney, I'm recording... Hey, get... Sydney!
I'm hijacking this video to give you a public service announcement. Ladies, are you tired of the same old boring anime nice guy love interest? Don't you want a fictional man with a little bit of spice to him? A man who's so infatuated with you, so obsessed with you, that he will protect you, keep you safe, even kill for you! In a fictional setting. Sure, he might be a little mentally unstable. Sure, he might break a few laws. But he will worship you like the goddess you are! Like the goddess you deserve to be! Take your boring vanilla protagonists. Keep your majestic Prince Charming. Why do we keep ignoring the undeniable fact that a little bit of crazy is just that little bit hot? Again, in a fictional setting. So I say to you, we don't want to fix him. We don't want him to be fixed. I hereby declare I proudly let him ruin my life.
I apologize about that, guys. I assure you, we only promote healthy relationships in this household. Okay, let's just move on. What do we got next? More Dan Machi. All right, let's see what we got here.
誰にも渡さない。あなたは私のものにする。
Gentlemen, Are you tired of the same old boring anime nice girl loving Mecha Ude? The story behind this production is almost as interesting as the story of the show itself. The brainchild of Sai Okamoto, a young, ambitious animator who had a dream of directing her own anime. She put together a team and a Kickstarter, raising $65,000 to fund a pilot, which after years of delays and struggles, her and her newly formed studio Trife managed to complete it. But the dream didn't end there. That was clearly just a stepping stone to a much grander vision, which they announced last year to confirm that a full anime series was in production. And now, 8 years after the original Kickstarter, this is what they have to show for it. One quick look, and you can immediately tell what the influences are. Glorious, over-the-top action, wearable limbs that are also sentient, Hiroyuki Sawano doing the soundtrack. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought this was an offshoot team from Studio Trigger, but that doesn't stop it from standing out from 90% of the other anime you usually see. It's a loud, in-your-face, bombastic action show that wears its influence on its sleeve, fueled by the passion of the people behind it. This project is clearly a dream come true for the creators involved, and while the plotline might not be something we haven't seen before, I am sincerely hoping they are able to pull off something special, so I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this. Oh hey, a harem anime where a guy moves into a shrine and has to pick one of 3 lovely shrine maiden sisters to marry. I think I've seen this exact plotline like 5 times before. One of them was Temperu, and the other 4 were definitely hentai. This feels like an anime that jumped straight out of the mid-2000s. The first 10 minutes was a goddamn speedrun of every cliche harem anime trope you could think of. This could be a nice comfort show, but it's gonna need to do something a bit different to really hook me. Editor, can you rewind back just a bit? And again?
Garn.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen. Another show revolving around getting married? Is anime trying to tell me something?
結婚ってそんなにいいものなのかな。俺は結婚するって言って指輪をはめてただそれだけだよ。結婚ってそんなにすごいことなのか。
すごいですよ。
Here we have 2 co-workers who decide to stage an entire
Hey now,
marriage.
listen. Marriage is fantastic, okay? If you'll ever put a ring on it.
Lying to their co-workers, lying to their parents, going through an entire season-long Kaguya-style plan, all because they're afraid of being transferred to Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh.
Shout out to the 10 anime fans in Anchorage catching strays. Honestly, I'm just happy to see more romance anime with adult characters. This is the type of setting we need more of.
Thank
Not
you.
Another high school romance with socially awkward teenagers. This time we got 2 socially awkward adults so adverse to social interactions, they'd rather fake a relationship than just tell their boss they don't want to move to Alaska. So, you know, way more mature. Alright, an all-new original Dragon Ball that was the very last thing Akira Toriyama was working on before he... Hold on a second. Sorry about that, I had to shut my window. I could hear the entire continent of South America from here. Seeing Toei splice in highlights of the Buu arc with modern animation, I get the feeling it's only a matter of time before they decide to do a modern remake. But this time, the entire cast have been turned into kids in what looks like a new adventure with OG Dragon Ball vibes. Not gonna lie though, Goku being a kid isn't gonna stop his fans from saying, well, you know, he's still strong, he can still beat All Might, he can still beat Gojo. Well, Dragon Ball fans, maybe, but can he beat this?
毎朝一番に来て誰よりも練習してあんなに悔しいって感情も持ってるのに
猪俣くんどうしたの
Ah! Woman basketball! Last season we had a jam-packed, all-you-can-eat buffet of great romance anime to pick from, and this season's heavy hitter seems to be this. Blue Box. I know I said earlier I was looking for a romance outside of a school setting, but I might just have to make an exception for this one because this was a full-on insulin shot straight into my veins. Not only does it clearly have high production values, especially among the other blue anime, but it also really looks like they are not shying away from the sports aspect of this show either. You've got your tournament arcs, promise goes to nationals, an adorable romance brewing between 2 characters.
Okay, we get it. Woman the basketball. We get it.
50-50 split between a sports anime and a romance drama. Margaritas have talked this one one up, so I'm expecting a lot of good things, and I'm interested to see how they end up tying the romance to them hitting their goals.
雑念が入るたび腹筋30回しよう。
あれ、もう行くの？春休みなのに早いね。
There's a show called Kimi wa Meiro-sama, or the official English name, You Are Miss Servant. A great name because as someone who knows a little bit of Japanese, I can confirm it's pretty hard to find an accurate translation of the word Meiro. Can't think of any word at all. This is basically Violet Evergarden meets that crazy maid from Black Lagoon. It's cute, but also she's a kudere, so I don't think I'm going to be able to connect with her that much.
変わらず味の良し悪しの判別なんてつきはしない。
On second thought, she might fit right into trash taste. For anyone looking for a magical girl anime, we got Acro Trip, aka PG-13 gushing over magical girls. But the one I got my eye on is Magi Lumiere, for a satirical, grounded take of magical girls where they fight the biggest evil of all, corporate management. This may be a magical girl anime with fantasy elements, but I don't think we're going to get a more true-to-life representation of the job hiring process in the modern day.
仕事はないか。
I have no money!
Corrected. This one was surprisingly enjoyable. You've got an all-powerful demon lord with unmatched potential, a master of deadly magic. Is able to bend the entire world to his will.
Well, hell yeah.
Resurrected 500 years later into a cyberpunk world where his legacy is forgotten, his followers have moved on, and technology has rendered his all-powerful magic completely useless. Motherfucker just got the true Zoltrak experience. It's a mishmash of such a wide variety of tropes, genres, and settings, and somehow it works. You're seeing Anos Voldigo getting humbled and being forced to survive in the world of Cyberpunk 2077, where the show asks, what can even a demon lord do when he has no job prospects, no qualifications, no experience to speak of, and no practical skills that would be useful at all? He becomes a Twitch streamer.
That's funny.
I
want to watch that.
The corporate experience doesn't end there, though, as we have an anime about an unlikely duo rising up to become the world's first trillionaires. Their secret? Spend all their early investments on stupidly expensive office chairs like this. Like, okay, I'm not looking for the most realistic story in the world, but how's that gonna help? These guys are gonna be trillionaires. As I tell you, they know exactly what they're doing. This is 100% based on reality. Like how a lot of the internet's reacted to this. When you hear a title like My Wife Became an Elementary School Student, you're probably gonna be like, damn. They're letting Drake fund anime now? But anyone who actually watches this will realize this is a ridiculous title that misrepresents the type of show that this is. 10 years on, after a man lost his wife to illness, he and his daughter have never gotten over it. A shadow of the people they used to be, nothing has truly filled that hole that their wife and mother had left when she passed away. Until one day, when she shows up at their door as a reincarnated 10-year-old kid. Except, no. The family gets a second chance to spend precious time together. The father rediscovers his purpose, the daughter gets her motherly role model back that she was missing, but as the episodes play out, you feel this melancholic atmosphere. We're all armed with the knowledge that these happy times can't last forever. Eventually, they're going to have to face the reality of the situation, and you're sitting there, prepping your heart for when that ball's finally going to drop. It's a story about coping with the loss of a loved one and how to move on from that. And while the title is bait as hell, it could have been worse. I mean, what if it was this exact title except, oh no. Uzumaki. Junji Ito is one of the most influential mangakas in the horror world, producing some...
You want to talk about it?
Why not?
Go ahead.
We also reacted to this over on our Patreon. Once again, a link down below in the description, because we are huge fans of Junji Ito. I literally have like 7 Junji Ito books on this bookshelf back here. Uzumaki being the first one that I ever bought way back in the day. And I love Uzumaki. It's my favorite one, the first one that I ever read. And years and years ago when they first dropped that anime trailer, that Adult Swim was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do Uzumaki. I was like, oh please let this be the first good Junji Ito anime adaptation, please, because we always either get really bad or really off the books live action movies, or we get like the Junji Ito collection where they just pick the shortest stories of chapters of his multiple books. They're like, yeah, animate that one. But sure enough, first episode fit the vibe great. Then they switched studios. And animation went super downhill after that. And they also cut the entire Uzumaki story into 5 episodes. Pacing was all over not all over the place. It was fast as fuck. We went through like 7-8 chapters every episode, and I was just like, bro, why? And what studio doesn't think that a full on, if you give the story the chance to breathe and be fucking creepy and scary, do you think it's not going to be successful? Why are we going so fast on this shit?
Yeah, because that's what we talked about before. It's like this one, Uzumaki and the collection were really good for what they were.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a series.
No.
And it made me sad that we don't give Junji's stories the proper, like, I guess, development or the time to develop. It's like, I want to see it all, and, like, you can do 30 episodes of it. I would be completely happy with that.
I'm like, even extending it out to 12 or 13 like a regular season would still be enough to give a full story what it needs to do. And if the excuse for that is, oh, well, you know, it's hard to do that when the chapters themselves are so short in the books, it's like, okay, you can do your job as a director and a writer and figure out how to insert some more story context into that to extend that naturally, not to just throw in random bullshit in there to it like falsely extend the time.
Junji Ito would be thrilled to kind of work with studios to kind of develop that middle story bits for it. Yeah. To kind of create little additional filler bits.
I agree.
But maybe one day.
And
it was still really good. It was a really good, the animation was beautiful. Yeah. They did it well enough, story-wise. It just, there was no full substance to it, and I wish that they had added more to it, but...
No, the only thing, the thing that I got the most right was the fact that they left it in black and white, like the actual original manga. It looked really good that way. I hope that if they do any more, that they keep it that way. But they gotta extend that shit out, and they gotta give it some actual substance if they do it again. Because what I don't want is for them to start doing like Tomie, which has so much. There is so much to the whole Tomie timeline and events and stories. She literally is a demon who clones herself and is all over the fucking world. There's stories that happen in like the snowy mountains. There's stories that happen in a small fishing village because she literally just goes everywhere. You have to give that time to actually make sense and plot out a story for that. You can't just throw random stories in there and be like, Tomie, don't just pick the fan favorite ones like the fucking painter one or the fucking, like I said, the cabin in the woods one, in the mountain one. Don't do shit like that. Just actually give it the respect that it deserves, and it'll show in the end of that. But I feel like no one wants to take the risk on that. Even though I don't know how that's the fact, because all I see is nothing but praise for Junji Ito and his works. I don't know why they don't think that it'll be successful if they did that. Yeah. But here we are. It was good for what it was, but it still felt like every other Junji Ito anime adaptation where it's between a 5 and a 7 out of 10. It's never going to be more. They never let it be bad, but they never let it be amazing like it could be. For reasons that they could have very well fixed when they planned it. And they just chose not to do it.
Some of the most unnerving, terrifying stories you can find in the medium. True works of art that deserve an anime that give them justice. But time after time after time again, people have attempted to adapt his work, and every single time without fail, it has resulted in an anime that was more cursed than the stories it was adapting. That is, until 5 years ago, a trailer was released on what is arguably his magnum opus, Uzumaki. And the most terrifying thing about this was, unthinkably, it actually looked good. This was it. The last chance. If this didn't work, there was no hope in hell a good adaptation could ever be done. Just one more time, we can hope. Then, radio silence for 5 whole years.
Seriously.
Until today, when I'm proud to say they finally did it. They actually did it, boys. Look at this. This is beautiful. It's unnerving. It's everything a Junji Ito adaptation should be. They did it. They really did it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
I hate everything.
It still has more animation than Blue Lock. Yep, see? Yep. Exactly. That's exactly what I said. Because we were confused about it until week 3 when it came out, and we started saying all this stuff about it, and got confirmed. Yeah, they switched studios. They had this one studio do episode 1, and then they switched different studio, and that's why it looked so drastically different. But again, the animation aside, it was fine at the end of the day. I'm more upset about the pacing that they did than the animation.
I was going to say, even as it continued, the animation, I think because the art still looked good for what it was, I was not bothered by the animation at all. I was bothered by how quick they just made the stories where it's like, we gotta do this, this, and this. Yeah. It's like, you don't have to do this and this. You can flesh out one and then continue down the road. But it was good for what it was. I just wish there was more. Yeah. As I wish for all of them to have more.
Yeah. Maybe one day. Maybe. Be sure to let us know down below in the comments your favorite anime from fall of 2024. We will see you guys for the next video. Bye.